Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I have a really nice one for you guys because today we take a look at, well, mass witches. This strategy became kind of popular in the last couple of weeks and, well, turned out being super powerful, especially showcased by queen walkers who kind of, I don't know if they created it, but at least they made this strategy really popular in the competitive scene. And obviously, there are already other strategies out there with witches, but this one is actually super effective on different styles of bases, but especially against those diamond-shaped bases, it's crushing it. So it's like one of those hard counter strategies for those bases. And I will show you guys today on different styles of bases how you can use this. Like for example on teaser bases, I will show you guys how you can triple ring bases and all those good things. This is overall the army composition, and one thing which is super important I will show you guys over this video is choosing the right siege machine. On this one I have overall 2 Yetis, a Valkyrie and a Barbarian in there, because sometimes you can snipe the Townhall with that, sometimes you can do other things like using the Ram, using the siege machine, different styles which are possible, and I think we should get started with this ring base. So once again, the first thing which you're looking for is a scatter shot. This is the thing which you want to use the lightnings for. And then the next step for you is kind of think about where would you do the warden walk. And what you try to accomplish with those two parts, you want to kind of increase the funnel of the warden walk with your lightnings. This is kind of the goal. In addition, obviously, you want to get rid of the scatter shot because scatter shots is not nice against witches. Trust me. Like if you're facing a scatter shot which is not tanked or whatever, that's not good. So the next thing for me is doing the warden walk, and there's like a small trick for you guys. Try to use the warden walk before you're actually using the lightnings. This is saving you 5 to 10 seconds, which in the end could be the difference maker in between of a 3-star or a 99%, and that's not nice to get. Trust me. The next thing what we're going to do is pretty straightforward. Witches in and pray for the best. This is basically what you're doing, but obviously with more with like trying to put more strategy in there. But for me, it's like the ice golem in, king normally on the outside, he walked like back in, which is totally fine as well, to be honest. And on this one, since it's a ring base, we want to get rid of the town hall. So we're using the blimp in combination with the yetis in there to kill the town hall. That's kind of the goal. Obviously, like whenever, like when you're facing a lot of ring bases, you can obviously switch out the Valkyrie and the Barbarian for like 3 super goblins. But I want to use this this clan castle for different purposes, not always the town hall. So that's why on my end I like the Valkyrie more, because I feel like it's better if you're facing like skeleton traps or something like that. Now the clan castle is getting into our troops, like facing our troops, and that's kind of the next thing. You do not need a poison with this army composition, which is really nice. But why exactly do you not need a poison? Well, that's kind of simple because first off, you do not want to face the enemy clan castle with just your warden, your queen, or just your king. You want to face the enemy clan castle with your witches. This is kind of the thing which you're looking for, because the nice thing about witches is first off, they're ranged, which means they can attack ground and air. And then the next thing is they do splash damage, which means if there are like enemy witches in there, if there's like mass minions, I have no clue, like whatever is in there, you can kill this pretty easily just with the rage on top of your witches, and it's done. And you can see it on this one. We have 3 witches on the outside. We have like 2 more witches on the inside, 3 more witches on the inside, which is overall like 8 witches still left. We have the queen obviously still left. We have the royal champion. So this is a crazy big overkill overall, and that's just how easy it can be. But I will show you guys now more different styles, because this is like the next style, which is one of those teaser bases. Now, obviously there are different approaches, but what I really like to do is once again take a look for the scatter shot. We have 1 scatter shot in the core, which is kind of useless for us, because if we use the lightnings for that, we don't create any pathing, and this is kind of important. What we do instead is we use the lightnings for the scatter and the wizard tower to make sure those 2 buildings are out of the way, and obviously damage all of the buildings around there with the earthquake, which is always a nice thing to have. And now we're doing once again the warden walk in front of that. It's pretty straightforward. It's most of the time the same story. And now we kind of just have to wait for our warden to finish off the buildings. And what we want to have is that nothing is kind of backtracking. Like when we're sending everything in at 4 o'clock, we do not want the troops to like backtrack for the cannon or things like that. So we invest a little bit more time into the warden walk, but this should be alright because, well, witches are normally kind of quick. The next step for us is sending in the ice golem for tanking once again. And this time I decided, okay, let's use the ram. Like I said, you can use with this army any siege machine. It's crazy, and I will show you guys every single siege machine in this video and when to use it. On this one, you sometimes struggle to get deep enough into the base. You have one wall breaker, like one super wall breaker, and obviously you could choose a couple of normal wall breakers as well, but you normally do not get that far inside of the base with like just those couple of tools. You have obviously like one jump, which is nice, but sometimes the ram is a really nice helpful tool which you try to go for. The next thing is, do not be afraid to use the warden ability early to make sure that your ram is actually getting a bit further into the base, because now since we have like the wall already open in the core, we can use the jump on the outside so our witches can easily access the rest of the base. Now, since basically only the Town Hall is left alive, we can use the Royal Champion on the right side, we freeze the Town Hall and the Multi-Inferno Tower and just overwhelm the base with our power of witches. Obviously, like one thing which I have to learn a bit better on this army is using the Headhunter in time. I feel like the Headhunter so far was a bit wasted. So if you're one of those players like myself sometimes, who's kind of just forgetting about the Headhunter, just don't use it, replace it with something else, like, I don't know, more cleanup, more wall breakers, totally up to you. But for us on this attack, it's once again a crushing overkill. We have the Yeti still alive, we have the Queen, Warden, Royal Champion, all of those things are still alive. We have still plenty of witches alive, and this is going to be once again a huge overkill. And you guys see maybe the pattern which is kind of created at the moment, because this strategy is actually pretty busted, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, let's just try to take a look at the next base and see how that works. On this one, we have, even though the base is not completely maxed, I know, but still it's all about the showcasing. On this base, I mean, those bases, like, they exist in maxed versions as well, and we want to kind of showcase how exactly you can approach bases like this. And in addition to that, this is a base which is not that easy because, or like not that easy when it comes to the warden walk, because there's no trash around the outside wall, which means you have to place the warden kind of close to the wall, which means there's a lot of damage on your warden and you have only 4 healers. So what I do instead on this one is I use first the lightning spells and then the warden walk, because to be honest, he's only like, he needs only to take down 2 buildings, so that's not too much. Now the ice golem in there, now the loons, and that's pretty important, and I still forget it sometimes as well, but the loons are not for the back end. That's not their job. Their job is to fly in front of the healers and soak up black mice. That's their main purpose. You want to protect your healers because you only have 4 healers in this army composition. If you're losing healers early, it's pretty bad. And for example, those loons already tanked like, I think, 3 or 4 black mines, so that's pretty crazy. Now the next thing on this army, on this base, for example, again, we are using the blimp because we want to create our own pathing in this base. And since out of the first compartment, the witches can go everywhere. They can go to the top, bottom, left, right, whatever. They could go everywhere. And what we're trying to do with this is we're trying to clear the top side of compartment, which leads the witches to the bottom and to the left side, or like to the right side. That's kind of the goal for this one. So we want to create a pathing for our witches, because otherwise they get really easily distracted, and this is kind of your main job always on those attacks, to get them on their path so they're walking together and they can heal it all up like together with the healers. That's kind of the main thing, and it's going to be once again a huge overkill. And to be honest, even if this base would have been completely maxed out, would have been still crushed. So that's the next easy triple. You guys see the army of skeletons getting into the back of the base. It's crazy to watch. But yeah, that's just like the next base we just easily smashed. So let's get to the next base. This one is going to be a maxed base again. So that's kind of nice. And this is going to be the base. I think this is a YouTube base actually as well. And it's, I think, pretty powerful. I think I used it for a couple of days as well. And What we do on this one is once again the same story as always. We're going for one of the scatters, and in front of the scatter we're going with for the warden walk. This is always the same setup. So what we're doing over here, we're splitting up the zaps a little bit. I want to get the sweeper out of the way. To be honest, the next two, like those two lightnings, were actually awful because I could have hit the warden and the bomb tower as well. I don't know why I didn't do that. Let's ignore that. So that's first off pretty bad. But now we have to wait for our warden, because I was like already like trying to think of how do we do the next step, what is the next step, and I wasn't really paying attention to our warden walk, because I could have placed this wizard already ages ago, because we need to go for this wizard tower. If this wizard tower is not down, we are running the risk that our troops are running into the wrong direction. And like I said, this warden walk is supposed to funnel, supposed to give the direction for our troops. And now we're getting into the base with the witches finally, and starting at the bottom side with our king and the siege barracks. On this base, I think a siege barracks is pretty nice. We do not need a blimp. Back-end slammer is not that great either, so that's just the main idea on this one. Now everything is getting into the base, super wall breaker is working, and we use the warden ability obviously as soon as we're getting closer to the town hall. I used the freeze as well. I don't know why I freeze the freaking air defense and the single inferno tower, not the town hall and the single inferno tower. I guess I'm just stupid on this attack. Still, it's looking pretty good. Now the jump spell placed, and we have the next rage, and everything is getting into the core, and you guys see why exactly it's awful to have a scatter shot against you with witches. It's like everything is dying kind of quickly. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but still, there's the multi-inferno tower as well. So this base is already actually like really bad for witches, because we have the double scatter shot setup. We have the tornado over there as well. We have the multi-inferno tower in the core, 4 ground exposed, so not the best base for our witches, but still they're completely smashing this base power wise. Like you guys can see, there's so many witches left alive in the core, couple of them going for the outside, but still we have cleanup at the top side, waiting on the loons to take out the cannons so we can place the cleanup on the 3 o'clock side as well. And I mean, there are so many witches alive, you guys can see it. Like, it's hard to count, but we still have the Yetis alive as well, we have our queens alive. So this is going to be a huge overkill power-wise, but obviously time could be an issue because we were really unconcentrated, like not concentrated on the queen, on the warden walk, because we were like already thinking ahead and everything. And because I have to admit it, I'm not using this army too often because I still try to learn a bit better. But what I had so far, like success with this strategy, it's crazy. It's so freaking easy to pull off, and at the same time so powerful. It's insane. It's freaking insane. So yeah, I mean, it was a crazy overkill. Maybe wizards a bit earlier, and then this would have been the next triple. But instead, time fell. It's fine as well. Still a nice showcase for you guys. Next attack, and this is the last attack which I want to show you guys today, or like the last base style. And on this one, we have once again one of those core scatter shots, and once again one scatter shot which is kind of on the outside. Obviously we need to go for the scatter on the outside. Obviously once again we need to go for the warden first and then place the lightnings, because the warden can already start working and everything. So that's really important. Now the lightnings, earthquake, everything, so far so good. Everything's looking great for us now. Now we need to wait for the warden. Like the warden needs to like increase the funnel so our witches cannot backtrack and will keep going on their path. This is kind of the next thing what we're going for. Now the healers in behind, a coconut loon, everything is good so far. Now we're waiting for our warden to take down the elixir storage, and as soon as that's done, then we can get started with our witches. Now elixir storage is going down, and this time we're using the slammer. We haven't used that one just yet, so let's try that out. Now Ice Golem, Wall Breaker behind, a couple of witches on the outside, more witches, like even more witches in the middle, then the queen in behind. Once again, the coconuts. Those are super important. You have only 4 healers. Make sure they're staying alive. And now the jump and the next rages. So far, so good. Everything's looking great for us. Now the slammer, and I took the slammer because there is no air defense. We can take down the eagle pretty easily, because one of the biggest like things which are not that great about this attack in particular is that the eagle is really far back. So the slammer is a nice addition over there and can take down that easily. So now we have the rage in the core, and obviously the freeze for the scatter shot, and that's overall the nice setup of the witches that you do not need the poison, so you have the additional freeze, and then the Royal Champion on the right side as well. Clan Castle is going down, and this should be once again an easy triple, because all of the backend, like, they can't deal with this power of witches and all of the skeletons, etc. So yeah, I hope I was able to show you guys exactly on how to use this strategy, why it's important to kind of split off of your witches as well a little bit, like put a couple of them on the outside, put a couple of them on the inside, then the ice golem tanking in the beginning, how you do it with the lightning spells, how you do it with the warden walk. So that was the goal of this video. I really hope I was able to show you guys exactly on how to do all of that. And well, guys, try it on your own. Like, I showed you guys a couple of the attacks only of what I did today, and it's insane. This strategy is actually crazy, and I mean, just try it on your own. The army composition was at the beginning of the video. I hope you guys liked this video overall, the strategy guide. And well, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you the best of luck with this strategy. Let me guys know how it works for you guys. That's it. Thank you guys. See you tomorrow. Until then, bye bye.